$1,000 at birth could be life-changing. We're going to talk about exactly why that is. You need to hear this one on today's edition of The Current Temp. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm Joey Solopek, and again, I am joined by my friend, a partner at work, and mentor, Mr. Bill Gerner, of course, with us at EMC Equity Management Company. And before we get into $1,000, we're going to talk about our great sponsor, Lexus of Memphis, and I know you're a fan.
Oh, I'm a fan, and you know I got a hybrid car, and it was an RX 350, and I love it. And when I went to the mailbox, I found this, if everyone can see it.
In your mailbox?
In my mailbox. Lexus sent me a tin, and it's full of candy, and I ate the whole thing. It was so good.
Hey, punch up that. He was holding that up for that one. There you go. Come on, my producer.
It's like a 45 record, isn't it?
That's beautiful. Just showed up in your mailbox. Hey, now listen, you can get that in your own mailbox if you go out to Lexus of Memphis. They'd love to see you. Tell them we said hello. And of course, we want to represent EMC Equity Management Company. If you've got questions you'd like to ask us about your finances, which is what we're about to talk about now, we give out free advice, all you can handle. Just try to help you get where you're going. You can check us out at emctn.com. All right, we're going to talk about Trump accounts, and we're going to talk about before the opinions start flying. This is something our administration is doing right now. $1,000 at birth for kids. And of course, we're going to talk about what it is, who qualifies, and how time can be on your side. But I'm going to run through some of the specifics first. What is a Trump account? It's a government-backed investment account of $1,000 for eligible newborns. We're going to tell you who's eligible in just a moment. The money is invested, and it can grow over time. And the whole point of this is to help our future generations learn to build long-term wealth. So now, who qualifies? Great question. Citizens are children that are born during this specific period. I'm about to show you what that is. You've got to meet citizenship eligibility requirements, so born in the U.S. Your parents don't have to contribute, but you need to, and we're going to talk about that. You can add to it. And these accounts are for U.S. citizens and legal residents. Now, who's eligible? Now, these are the dates you need to know. If your child was born between January 1st of 2025 through December 31st of 2028, so that period of time between January 1st to right now through December 31st of 2028, they can get this free $1,000. And then the account must be used between the ages of 18 to 25 years old. And of course, there's rules on that as well. I'm going to tell you how to check into all that. Now, the next thing to talk about is where is the money invested? And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Most of the directions there, and we're going to tell people how to get there, is to put it in a diversified index fund. Would you talk for a moment about why that's a good idea?
It's a good idea because like the S&P 500 is diversified. If you only have $1,000, you can't buy but maybe one stock or a few shares of it.
Because they're so expensive.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I think that diversification, and also the S&P has done pretty well over time. I think going back to 1926, it's up around 10 or 11%. So it's a good place to put it for diversification and safety.
Okay, so for a recap, an index fund is one that just tracks the market, the stock market at large. The S&P 500 is a great example. It can go up and down. So that is called volatility. The stock market can go up and go down. But as Bill was just saying, over time, what history has shown us is that it's up way more than it's down. So if you put this investment in an index fund, which is one of the recommendations, history has shown us it should grow over time. There will be ups and downs. One of the questions I get asked is, okay, so once the money's in there, what can we use it for? I think this is a great explanation. Kids can use it for education, like college, vocational school. They can use it towards purchasing their first home when they get older. They can use it to start a business, and they can use it for retirement. Those are all things we talk about all the time.
Right. And you know, when you get 18 to 21, you can certainly use the money too.
Right. And if you started at birth and hopefully somebody helped contribute to it, that's going to be a big deal, which brings us to the big one, the power of compounding. Now, I've got an example here, all right, and we're going to dive into this, and this is where we're going to spend most of our time, then we're going to keep this quick. If you've got $1,000 at birth, okay, at an 8% annual return just on that $1,000, then when they're 18, that'll be $4,000. Now, we're hoping you'll contribute to it as time goes on, which will make that number bigger. At 30 years old, that $1,000 is worth $10,000 if you haven't contributed anything else. At 50, it's $46,000. And by 65, it's become $146,000. Now, I had a good brain tell me, I got to point out, the market can also go down. But historically, and this is why this example uses an 8% number, historically, the market has shown around an 8% return, give or take. So let's make sure we're being fair to the volatility.
I think you're fair, and also you used 8%, but I mentioned 10%. But I don't know if people know this, but compounding is so powerful. I think it's the eighth wonder of the world by Albert Einstein. So it's really powerful, and I think that's a great example, Joey. But investing early and having some equity will pay off for these kids.
Well, I think what is important also to help people remember is you're not investing in a single stock. That's super volatile and super risky. It's going to go way up and way down and be very risky. What this plan is doing is telling you to invest it in what's called an index, which is, if it's the S&P 500, you're really getting the basis of 500 companies and how it's doing over time. So what you're really investing in an index fund is I'm betting that the market will continue to do well over time. That's better than just... I make sure I want to explain that so people don't think, wait a minute, if I pick one stock, isn't that going to lose all my kids' money? This is more history has shown us that if you invest in the market, it's going to compound over time. And again, it can go down, but overall it stays up.
It stays up, but I think if people think about this, the population of the United States is 4.5% of the world, but yet 50% of the world invests in the U.S. stock market.
Wow, yeah.
So it's powerful. It's coming in from overseas, different countries, because the U.S. is so stable and the safest place to invest.
Yeah, what you're really betting on and investing in is the U.S. economy, which has been the global leader. There's no doubt about it. All right, now this is the part I want to make clear because I was doing my research. It got a little confusing, but then I wanted to make sure we clarified. There is one Trump account program, but there's 3 ways to access it. And this is where I don't want you to get confused, so this is critical information. Here's the 3 ways to connect. Okay. There is a website, trumpaccounts.gov, okay? That's where you learn about the program. I went and checked it out. It's got all the information. You can click trumpaccounts.gov. But to activate it, you have to go to trumpaccount.com, all right? That's critical. Two things you got to remember here. Trumpaccounts.gov is where you learn about it, and it is the legit site from the administration. Trumpaccount.com is where you activate and manage your account. I don't want anybody to think they're getting scammed. It's important to know and share that. The third thing you can do or should do is download the official Trump account app, and that lets you see your account, manage it from your phone. So I thought that was important to share because when I first clicked on it, there are 2 different websites. My first thought was, one of these is a scam. They're actually both connected. One's a .gov, one's a .com. One tells you about it, one lets you activate it. So I thought that was pretty important. Anything you want to share here?
I don't think I have anything there, but I would like to go back to the compounding a minute. I know you know the rule of 72, so if you can average 10% a year, you divide that 10% into 72, it would take you 7.2 years to double your money.
Okay.
So, people want to invest in bonds. Okay, well, I think the bond aggregate index was up year to date 0.62. So you may not live long enough to double.
Less than 1%, yeah.
Right, less than 1%. So I think people can keep that in mind. And the stock market, of all investments, you can look at private equity, you can look at hedge funds, anything else. Over the long period of time, it's the best place to be, and it's pretty consistent. Like you said, 75% of the time it's up. So if we went bowling every week and we bet, and I was winning 75% of the time, you may not be going with me very often.
That's a pretty good winning record. All right, quick recap. Those kids that we gave the dates for, you got $1,000 with their name on it. You want to put it in an index fund, and it will list what those are. Keep in mind, time is your friend because the longer you don't want to touch it, let it work and grow, and it will compound for your child or grandchild. and you can add to it as you go. So let's end with that. Tell them why it's important to add to it as time goes on.
If you add to it, you compound that addition as well as your initial $1,000, and it would be bigger than the numbers you put up. So
Yeah.
I think that's important.
As you're buying in, each time you make a contribution, whether it's $50 or whatever it is, your kids get that trampoline effect over time, and that's what Bill was just pointing out. All right. Any last thoughts on this?
Yeah, it kind of popped in my head, and maybe you know the answer to this. You know, we had the GI Bill, I think, in the 70s or whatever, and that's where if you stay in the Army for 2 years or 3 or 4, whatever it was, they paid your college tuition. This is the next biggest thing I've seen to that.
Wow.
And that just popped, because you think about how many kids, how many thousands of dollars, but also it's going to teach those kids equity and compounding, and that they will have money. And when they get old enough to understand it, they're going to ask their parents, where did this come from?
And by the way, we didn't even mention this. There's a lot of companies stepping up right now that are matching contributions. And so you may want to check and see if you work for a big corporation. It's usually the big corporations and really banks that are doing this. Your company may match, which would double what your kid could do. So I think we got a pretty sweet deal happening here.
It is. And when I have 10 grandkids, when they were each born, I bought something for them, and a couple of them have cashed it in, and they're so happy.
Well, it makes a difference. Time makes that difference. All right, friends. Again, if you've got questions about your finances, if you've got an old 401k or an IRA, or just have some questions, our team would be happy to answer them. You can contact us through the website emctn.com. And again, thank you to Lexus. And if you've got any questions, you want to email us. It's pretty simple. You can contact us at thecurrenttemp@gmail.com. So from myself and from Mr. Bill Gerner, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.